Inside the Triangle, the Decker Truckline Podcast.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Triangle. I am your host, Darren Ladley. Our guest this week is Melissa Harrison from Workhound. They are a driver feedback program, and as you can tell by her bubbly personality, Melissa loves life. Me and Melissa talk every Tuesday. About every Tuesday afternoon, we have a little meeting, and she kind of goes over things that the drivers are saying out there. But first off, Melissa, what do you do there at Workhound? What is your title?
Yeah, thanks. And thank you for having me. Super pumped to be on this. My title here at Workhound is a Senior Customer Success Manager, and I work solely with Decker Truckline. And like you said, we have meetings every Tuesday, get to chat with y'all and go over every single bit of the driver's feedback and kind of come up with game plans and, see where we can do to make some changes, positive changes for the drivers.
So I noticed here a couple of weeks ago, we had one where we actually had the cameras on, and Jason was on that and scared the bejesus out of me looking at him every day. But anyway, yours was on there, and I happened to notice, now this is a little off subject, but this is what I do. I noticed some snowboards in your background there. So you live down south. Where do you snowboard?
I do. I live in good old Tennessee, so we do not get snow more than 2 inches of that. But if I do go snowboarding, I'll go out to Park City, Utah. That's kind of our stomping ground. I'm still a noob at it, so I'm not exactly great, but I look pretty cool with my snowboards in the background of our call.
So what is your background in? How did you get into what you're doing now?
Yeah, so fun fact about me, my dad was actually a truck driver for 30 years. He retired last year. So trucking's in my blood. I used to ride in trucks with him. I'd go across states. It was like the most fun thing ever. So I didn't really know what Workhound was or who they were until I got reached out by the owner of the company. His name's Max Farrell. And he said, "Hey, I really like your degree." And my degree is in industrial organizational psychology. And that's just kind of, we want to make workers happy. We want to make the workplace enjoyable for them. And that's kind of my focus with that degree. And kind of looked up things on Workhound, and I thought how awesome and wonderful of an idea it was to give, frontline workers a safe space to express their thoughts on anything they want to talk about. And it's anonymous, so y'all don't know who they are. I can see their name, but we don't share that unless they do decide to reveal. But that's just how I kind of came across, and I just love the concept of it, and we just try to help make that workplace better.
All right, so even Katie, shrugged her shoulders a little bit. This degree that you went and got. So what is that again?
Yeah, it's called Industrial Organizational Psychology. I kind of call it a bust-up human resources position because you learn a lot about human resources in it, but you also are coming up with game plans on how to make the workplace better, work on teamwork, work on building a better culture at places. So definitely use my psychology background to apply those principles to make people happy, essentially.
So how did you even come across going into this field? I mean, this is not your average philosophy 101 or business management 101. How did you get into this?
Yeah, so I had no idea we call it IO psychology for sure. I had no idea what it was. I was taking a class called Careers in Psychology, and my degree then was I was going to do marriage and family counseling. But after shadowing some folks, I realized I probably couldn't handle that because I'm very empathetic and I get very emotional with things. So we had one gal come in and she was like, "Hey, I'm an IO psychologist for the city. This is what I do." And I was like, "Hey, I really like that." And I like that it's also a business because it's kind of like a business minor with a psychology degree. So I was like, I'm just going to get a crack at it and fell in love with the degree. It's awesome.
So where did you graduate from?
I went to Southern Adventist University in Collegedale, Tennessee.
Okay, so once you got to Tennessee, you never left.
I did not. I'm still here. I still love it.
So your dad was a driver for 30 years.
He was.
Do you remember what kind of products did your dad haul? Was he a reefer, van, flat? What kind of?
No, so he was an owner-operator. I believe he actually put his foot in the door with different things. He did flatbed for a little bit, just realized he started getting older, so it wasn't really his thing anymore. But I think he mainly did reefer, van type stuff. But he would go to the ports a lot, like in Charleston, in Savannah, and just that was trips going there. I used to have to hide in the truck. That wasn't supposed to be happening, but I'd have to go hide in the bunk bed.
Well, my daughter, I'm not sure how old you are, but my daughter's probably about your age, maybe a little older.
Yeah.
I actually taught her her shapes and colors because she used to ride in the truck with me, and I used to have, I don't know if you know what a cab over is, but she used to ride in the cab over with me, and she used to sit on what we call the doghouse right beside me, and we would go down the road, and I'd, hey, what color is that? What shape is that? And that's how she learned her shapes and sounds. But yes, also her, I had to hide in the bunk a few times because there's certain places that they did not want children with us.
No, they did not. So Dad would be like, hey, let's play our game. Like, get in the bunk. Don't show your face. And he had like a little window at the very top I'd always peek out of when the big old crane came over and took the tank off the truck.
Memories. All right. So
I know.
To start off with, explain a little bit about what Workhound is and what it's used for.
Yeah, of course. So Workhound is an anonymous feedback platform designed specifically for workers to feel free to share their thoughts and feedback anonymously. So we focus on giving workers a voice anywhere, anytime they want to provide feedback, whether that's the good, the bad, the ugly. That's what we're asking you. We just want to hear all your raw insights and your thoughts.
Well, and I know you touched on it a little bit, but a lot of drivers don't believe that it's anonymous, but you are the only one that knows who the driver is, unless they, unmask. So
yes.
What is the benefits of doing that?
Yeah, so I protect their identity. I hold that close to my heart. I'm like, nope, not saying a word till they say yes. But the whole point is, we want to give drivers the safe space to express their thoughts freely. But we also want to give, y'all at Decker, the staff who's working with me, to have the opportunity to reach out to the driver to get, have a conversation with them, get some more info about the comment they sent in. They just want to have a conversation. A lot of times people think, oh, I'm going to get retaliated against. But that's not the point of this program. You're not going to get retaliated against. They're reading your comment and they want to help. So that's when we do give, if you get a text like, oh, hey, Decker saw your anonymous comment. Would you like to reveal? You totally can say yes, or you can totally say no. There is no pressure at all. But we love to open that communication gap so you can get connected with someone that can actually help you work through an issue or problem, or even thank you for sending in a really awesome, comment. We get a lot of praise from your drivers, and it's just wonderful to see, especially shout outs for specific folks.
Well, and talking about praise, I mean, you have told us our praise level is very high. I mean, right now we're running at what kind of a percentage?
Oh man, your praise, it's your number one theme. It's blowing everything else out of the water. We just did a review and the praise was like that. Oh, there's so much praise that comes in each week. I don't know exactly a percentage, but it's the top theme every single month, which is just so delightful to see. A lot of times when people start this program, they think, oh, we're just going to get all this negativity and, there's not going to be a lot of good comments. But I feel like y'all were pretty surprised with how happy, Decker drivers are and what y'all do well. And they tell you what you do well, so you can double down and keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, and I had an interesting conversation on Friday. I had a driver who, as you know, in ours is kind of green is really good, red is bad, and yellow is mediocre. And I had a yellow comment, and the driver said it could be better. And so we asked him to unmask, and he did. And this is a long-term driver. I knew him very, very well. I mean, we're pretty good friends. And so I called him, and I said, what's the matter? And I mean, I'm not going to hide it. He isn't afraid of it. It's Jackie. And I go, Jackie, what the heck's up? He said, what? He said, I said, it couldn't be better. And I said, no, your message says it could be better. Oops. He's like, oops, no. He said, that should have been, you couldn't do better. I'm the happiest guy in the world. And I'm like, okay, all right.
You're like, okay, good. That's even better.
But then you do get, yes, and that's what this platform is for. If there's issues, we want to know these issues because we can't fix something if we don't know it's broke. And I mean, you look at every one of these comments that coming into us, and I mean, what are some of the biggest issues you see that we need to address?
I would say one of the hottest topics we all talked about recently was, truck washes. Guys want men and women want that truck clean going down the road. But we also understand that truck washes can be very expensive, and especially if y'all's fleet uses so many trucks on it. So that's been a hot topic, and drivers want some more washes to be able to do. We've gone over a lot of communication pieces, so especially with dispatch and planning, we could always use improvement there. And Tammy came up with a wonderful thing that we sent through the broadcast, just communication tips for drivers on how to get a hold of someone and whatnot. That's why those broadcast messages are really important to read, because we do address feedback head on in those and give some really good tips for drivers.
Well, and you're dead on with that. I mean, what we see on this and what we talk about on our Tuesday call, and that translates into usually, I believe, Katie, is it every week or every other week we have the TCA committee?
That's every week.
Every week. So every week on Thursday afternoons, and I bring up Workhound. We talk about Workhound subjects, things that the drivers are concerned with. We also, that will translate into the once a month or once every other month, we have the driver council call, and we'll bring what their opinions and what the thoughts are out on there from Workhound into that. And it has made a difference. It really has.
Yeah, I think so. And there are some things like drivers send in awesome suggestions, so they have great ideas. And sometimes things do take a little bit longer to implement or actually make a change on your end, because there's a lot of folks that are on the team. So that's why some things do take longer than others, but some things that we were able to work on or get out for y'all based on driver suggestions is y'all acted on getting an ice machine for them. They really wanted that. And they wanted some popcorn in there, acted on that. So that's some driver wins. So that's what we want to hear. If you have a suggestion you think would help your day-to-day, an even better time at Decker, send in those suggestions, because you never know if, that's going to be acted on.
Well, yeah, and another one was you were talking about was washouts at the facility. We learned through the Workhound app that we always thought it was, and the drivers did too, that it was you were allowed one wash, whether it was out on the road or at the terminal. We come to find out, no, it's just one out on the road per month, but you can have unlimited washes at the terminals. So that's a big benefit to the drivers, and the Workout app is the one that found that out.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what we're here for. We're going to help find those, because like you said, you might not have any idea what, their top list of things that they want if they didn't say anything. And that's what the point of Workhound. They can just come in here and be like, hey, I really wish I could have this. And you might not know that could already be there available for them to use.
All right, for our fascinating trivia question for this week, we're going to have a little 1980s Cheers. So who can tell me what position did Sam Malone play for the Boston Red Sox?
Now, if you know the answer, you can email me at podcast@deckermail.com, or you can call me at 2206. The first person who answers this question correctly will receive a gift card from Darren.
Well, we're also using Workhound in the office now for all office and shop employees. So what kind of things have you seen through that at Workhound?
Yeah, so I work with Courtney and Libby in HR. And one of the common themes we kind of saw was just feeling appreciated more. A lot of office folks understand that, drivers are the heart of the company, but they're also putting a lot of hard work, keeping drivers out there, making the company run still. So we saw that, people want to feel appreciated. So I'm actually sending a custom prompt today, asking them, what are some things that they think would help them feel more appreciated at Decker? And we just want to get their ideas and suggestions to see if, that's something that y'all can work on.
Well, I know last week we had Matt Lynch, who's the director of fleet maintenance, and he was talking a little bit about the Workhound app and how they've learned a lot through the mechanics on a lot of the issues that were going on out there. So it's helping. We're trying to speed things up. We're making changes. So changes come gradually. It's hard to make real big changes fast. The equipment changes this year. The terminal changes. We got the one in Des Moines now. The ice machine, we're trying to change up some other stuff on it. So we're trying to make it a lot driver-friendly, worker-friendly overall, not just for the drivers, for anybody that works at Decker Truck Line, and Workhound is a part of that.
Yes. And what's really cool about Workhound as well, and some drivers have probably already noticed this, is, we got Darren, Gerard, and Jason. They're the ones that are in there looking at comments, doing reach outs, and they also can send you a text message that it addresses your comment head on, and they're the ones typing that message out. I am not. It's literally sent by them. And that's what Courtney and Libby are doing in HR. They're sending messages to folks in the office just to help them acknowledge, hey, we hear your comments, we see them, we're going to work on something.
Well, and I'm a guy that I'm sure Gerard and Jason are the exact same way, but you will get a comment back. You will get a text message back from me. If you're one of my guys, and I'm not going to hide it, I mainly handle the Midwest reefer division is what I handle. If you, even if you don't unmask, you're going to get something back from me. I'm going to look into something because, what's going on. I want to try to address the situation. I'll make it better on the sly side without knowing who you are if there's an issue. But you will get something back. I guarantee it.
Oh, yes. Yes. Y'all are, I brag on y'all all the time. Out of all my clients, you rock it at the OTNs, one-time notifications or the text. Y'all do such a wonderful job. That's what's part of that. That's why that tool is there. Is we want to create more of a communication between you and the drivers so you have that touch point right when they send in a comment.
And I'm not a fan of canned messages, and I know the word. I do not like canned messages. I want to just write out what's in my head and directly to it. So, guys, if you get it from me, it ain't a canned message. I'll guarantee that.
No.
I don't do canned. I don't do PC either. So, all right. So,
no, what's funny is Courtney and Libby, like I had talked to them and I was like, hey, would you want some of your like maintenance leads or like managers in here? They're like, oh man, no, I'm going to handle these. I'm going to make the responses back. I don't trust him with that. It was quite funny.
All right. Well, I guess one final thing is so where do you see Workhound in the future? What can become of this? Where is your growth? Where is our growth?
So our growth, we're in the trucking industry and we're trying to break through into like post-acute, more manufacturing, just different types of industries besides trucking, because I do truly believe that this program is so helpful for anyone, essentially. It's just about, if you're going to use Workhound, you got to listen to the feedback and try to consider changes. So those are the two industries we're trying to get into. So like post-acute and manufacturing type things. But it's a difficult journey because, it's kind of a newer thing. We don't really have any other software like us. So it's hard to break through that, but I have hope that we will. I mean, we just started with the staff last year and it's going so wonderfully with our other partners. So that's why we're like, okay, we can do this. We can get into other places. So,
well, do you think that since COVID came in, do you think that is growing allowed the growth for your company because now it's less hands-on face-to-face communication? Gotcha. People are getting more familiar and pleased with, electronic communication.
Yes. Actually, when COVID hit our nation, we were a little scared, especially with trucking. We're just like, we don't know what's going to happen. This is totally new territory for us. But we actually got so many drivers come to Workhound to ask questions about what's going to happen with this pandemic hit. What's in it for me? What do I need to expect? What's the future plan of this? And we actually didn't churn any clients at all. Like no clients left us during the pandemic, which was amazing. And we had more folks be like, hey, can your program collect stuff on COVID? And we actually have a COVID theme. And we're like, yes, we can. We can collect data on that. And so that really helped put our foot, it really helped drivers be able to get the answers they needed in such an unprecedented time where, everyone's very confused, but they came to Workhound and asked the questions that need to be asked. So I think that did set us up. We were featured in a lot of different trucking journals and articles and stuff just about our findings with COVID, which got our foot in the door with other people. Awesome.
I know, I'm kind of old school. It is a big change in the world now. I got a little Amazon now.
That's me. I'm losing all my money online shopping. It's just too easy with a click of a button. You're like, okay, there, come in my house.
It is, and I'm afraid that, and I really am, that's how easy it is just to point and click or whatever you want to call it. And my wife has actually been caught with that. I mean, all of a sudden she's just going like this, and she double clicked on something. All of a sudden, 3 things showed up at the house because it was all you had to do was one click shopping or whatever, and bam. So Workhound.
Oh my goodness, yes. Well, that's what's cool about Workhound is a lot of people, we're called Workhound apps. So a lot of people are like, you're like, okay, where do I download your app? But we're actually not an app. We wanted to make it as simple as possible. That's why we text drivers. We don't want them to have to go to the app store, find Workhound, click download, make an account, and then click on it whenever they want to send in feedback. We just are like, we want to make this streamlined. either they can click on a link and send in feedback, or they can just respond to that number and the feedback's still anonymous.
Well, thank you, Melissa. This was very enjoyable. I am sure the listeners are going to be amazed. And guys, don't give up. If you have an issue, just put it out on Workhound. Melissa will get it to us, and we will get it addressed.
There's a human on this end. I got your back, so we got it. We got this. We're in it together.
Ooh, I love that saying. We're in this together. All right. Well, thank you, Melissa. You keep everything going on your end, and we'll keep going on our end, okay?
Thank you. Have an awesome, lovely day.
All right. You too. Keep the shiny side up.
I will.
You know what that means?
What does that mean?
Huh? See, you don't even, I thought you were a truck driver's
Wait,
daughter.
keep the shiny side up. I thought you meant the sunny side up.
No, the shiny side up. You know what that means?
You know what? Actually, I don't.
Okay, so here's your homework. We have our 12 noon meeting, right?
Okay, yes.
All right, you need to ask your dad what keep the shiny side up means, okay?
Okay,
and
I will call him.
And I'm going to quiz you on it tomorrow, okay?
Oh, boy, I hope I pass.
As always, thank you for listening to Inside the Triangle. Don't forget to subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening on. That way you will know when the new episodes drop. And remember, submit your questions to podcast@deckermail.com, and you could be featured on one of our upcoming episodes. The best way to do this is to create a voice memo on your smartphone, record your question, and email it to podcast@deckermail.com. Once again, thank you for listening. Stay driven to be the best.